Hello to everybody that is watching me right now, and hello to you who will watch me later and when the video processes. My name is Miguel De Jesús. I am a peer mentor. Well, now you can call me a senior peer mentor because I graduated yesterday. So I am a peer mentor, senior peer mentor, sorry, of the UPRH Creative Writing Workshop. And I was just eating, so that's why I delayed a little bit. So today, what we are going to do is that we are going to continue our Cyber June workshop. The UPRH Creative Writing Workshop is a special place that has been founded in the English department so that students from the University of Puerto Rico in Macau have a space to write in English, obviously writing creatively. And since we don't want to lose that flow of the semester, we give summer workshops in the channel in live stream. So this month, June 2015, we are dedicating it to science fiction. And since I'm kind of hardcore in science fiction, well, they gave it to me. I'm the presenter. So now, last week we spoke about the Wednesday 3rd, we spoke about an introduction to science fiction, the different genres, and many other things. But today, let me check if there's somebody here. I see that Luisa, one of our mentors and students and members, is here. And the last week, previous week, we did a introduction, and today I'm gonna be talking about characters, plot, setting in science fiction, and we're gonna do a little writing prompt in science fiction. Okay, so let's get started quickly, and forgive me for what I'm about to do. I am so hungry, I'm sorry. Okay. So first of all, science fiction. What are the main characteristics of science fiction? You need to ask yourself, and let me go to my document. What if? And if this keeps going, what? So science fiction is basically a literature of change. So that's what we aim for when we're writing science fiction. We aim to write something that has to do with change. So, and also ask the question, what if? That is your creative motor. And then you part from there. You start writing science fiction because you ask yourself, what if? Remember, science fiction differentiates from fantasy because science fiction utilizes real scientific data, if you may. Because we know that we have hardcore science fiction and softcore science fiction. Hardcore science fiction mainly focuses on using actual hard sciences such as biology, engineering, to develop the plot of the story. Whereas the soft science fictions use social sciences such as anthropology, politics, and it's the science fiction aspect goes, and the science aspect, sorry, the scientific aspect falls in the backdrop. And basically the story develops around the characters and the settings and that social aspect of the science fiction world in which the characters are living. Sorry. Now that we're talking about characters, let's just begin speaking of the most common characters in science fiction that pop culture relates when we talk about sci-fi. Classic, the robot. The robot is one of the most iconic characters in science fiction because it derives into the unknown, like the movie I, Robot. The main characters, in between the main characters, are robots, androids. We also have aliens. Yes, that's also one of the iconic characters in science fiction because you encounter something different, and that's what science fiction aims to find. Different. different. And those are basically the characters. The settings, the settings that we find in science fiction. We find settings that often fall in the futuristic because the writer asks himself, what if? And then he develops a story. For instance, in the book 1984 by George Orwell. Yeah, okay. It's a futuristic, if you may, near future. Let's put it in that category. The near future book basically places these characters in a dystopian society where Big Brother is watching you, and there is control, and there's everything. And let me check if I'm still online. Love that movie. Yes, I love it. I'm checking the chat, so that's why I. Okay. And what happens is with the 1984 is that the setting develops the science fiction aspect because there's high surveillance in the for the characters and the people that live there in that world, and the setting plays an important role in the development of the science fiction concept in 1984. We also have another one, Flowers for Algernon, one of my favorite science fiction short stories. And the setting is in the near future as well because it mainly talks about high intelligence, IQ, high IQ, and how that person wants to be intelligent to be accepted. So that's a soft science fiction. But the setting itself, it's it's very important because it places you in this spectrum that feels 21st century, but it does not feel that far away. So it's the setting also plays this near future experience because it can happen. I mean, who knows what people are experimenting with it right now. And the last thing, the most important thing, the driving force, the plot, the plot. So mainly it depends on the type of science fiction that you are going to write. But I assume that all of us, the amateur writers in the creative writing workshop, we are going to engage in softcore science fiction because I will, I don't know, I encourage you to find hard science fiction because if you're a boss, if you know your stuff in science, in hard sciences, well, cool. But I, on the other hand, will use soft science fiction to develop my plot because I don't know the terms, I don't know the concepts, the formulas, the data, all that. So the plot mainly revolves around, as I mentioned before, change. What if this happens, and then this is the effect? It's a cause and effect relationship that happens in a science fiction story. Does it ha does it have to be this though, or is it that? Okay, Luisa has a question. One of our members. Does it have to be a dystopian setting though, or is it that because it's more common for the possibility of change? Very well, excellent question, Luisa. It does not have to be a dystopian setting because dystopian, it's like the rave right now. That's why I said the example. But the change can be developed throughout the story. Okay, it does not have to start with the change that had already happened and the consequences. You can choose to guide the reader into what started it, how is it developing, and the end. Okay, that's basically what happens. But the change is very subtle because it happens at the end. But you want to capture the attention of the reader by developing and using imagery related to science fiction so you can write a convincing story, even though it's far-fetched. You may. But remember, you cannot cross the borderline to fantasy, in which you start putting fairies and all that because there's no scientific evidence that they exist. For it. Science fiction relies on what is observable, what can be counterfied. It's all about the scientific method. But regarding the dystopian setting, as you can see, it's basically more soft science fiction because the dystopian setting focuses on the change, right? But it does not have to be, for example, that. An example, let's use the short story that I just said, Flowers for Algernon. The change that happens is very it drives and goes with the reader. Okay, so the possibility of change is seen throughout the story, but you do not need, in any moment, there was no mention of dystopian or destruction, because science fiction tends to be associated with destruction and all that. I don't underestimate it also. Kevin, hello! Welcome, another one of our great writers, Kevin Mendez. I have underestimated all sci-fi lovers. Personally, I thought it was the weakest genre. Now I kind of love it. You need to explore it, because one of the objectives of the creative writing workshop is to create a holistic writer. Then you part into anything you want. But I recommend that you read science fiction. I gave you some recommendations, and I have here the Wesleyan Anthology of Science Fiction. Let me see if you can see it. It has excellent stories. It has excellent stories. Okay, so oh look, there's my hand. Okay, okay. So it's basically, you need to read science fiction in order to love it and understand it. But it's all about change, how you perceive change as a writer, and what you want to explore, what themes you want to explore. Okay, so regarding the plot, you need to make a convincing plot as a writer, so that the science fiction and the scientific aspect is believable, because you are venturing into the what if, the unknown. So you need to convince the writer that this unknown thing should be accepted as a reality in the world that you created as a writer. So let's see what else. Let me take a quick break. There has been, in the 21st century, as we move on towards a technological era in which we are right now, there there has been a boom, sudden boom of science fiction stories that appeal to young readers and young adults. And that's the hype right now. For example, the dystopian that we already talked about. But science fiction is taking and is booming again, because we are walking towards an advanced era, you know? Suddenly, alien contact seems so probable and so possible thanks to technology. Because right now, we, in this era, we are going to send people to Mars, and they're going to start a colony there. Hopefully, they'll survive the trip, the 7-month trip to Mars. But what seemed impossible was written in science fiction years ago, but now it's here. It's at the palm of the hand. So science fiction is taking a boom because we are changing. You see how that interwoves. Okay. It it also depends on the time that you're writing your science fiction story, because right now we 21st century kids, if you may, we're going to be writing a lot about the technological influence on us. You know, there have been many stories already about mind control and all that, and that's acceptable because that's what we're living. And Luisa sent a alien spaceship and a flying saucer emoticon. Okay, so you as writers need to be in touch and in tune with what's happening in science if you want to be a good science fiction writer. Because as you know, the changes are constantly happening in our society. You'll be an excellent and convincing writer because you know your stuff. Even though you're going to be writing in softcore or the hardcore science fiction, you need to make it believable for the reader. Okay? And I'm using my hands a lot because I am a robot. Yeah. So, right. Basically, I think the today's virtual workshop will be very short, because the rest is up to you as a writer. You need to develop the stories and the characters and the setting. Remember, this is very important. Since science fiction deals with change, your characters need to be part of that change. Or you can make the character to remain the same throughout the novel and the story, and focus on the change and its consequences. But I recommend, as I have read in the stories here in the Wesleyan anthology, the characters have a change. Even though for example, I have a story here called The Star by A.G. Wells. This is an apocalyptic story because it deals with a coming comet that passes around the earth and leaves a wave of destruction behind it. But yet, the star, as it is called, provokes change in humanity because life is very feeble and we can die any moment. So that's what it focuses on. You need to remember also, science fiction deals with a lot of psychological and social criticism. Okay? Apocalyptic. Oh God, sorry. Jurassic World. Yes, of course, it's science fiction. Kevin, my friend, it is science fiction because it deals with humans playing God, if you may, and they're also engineering life. So it is Jurassic World is science fiction. It is science fiction because humans are using their knowledge of bringing back to life extinct animals to their entertainment. I'm just curious, since it has a lot of scientific aspect to it, besides of the apocalyptic tone it gives. He's apocalyptic. I think what Kevin is referring to instead of apocalyptic, I think he means that it is action packed maybe, but the Jurassic World is science fiction. All the Jurassic part because the animals are extinct. Humanity dares to use science and engineer new life. That's the topic in science fiction, new life, as alien encounters, all that is in this scientific amalgam of topics and branches that we have. We can develop science fiction stories. It's just that we need to have the knowledge, even though, like I mentioned before, even if it's for a softcore science fiction story or poem or whatever, you need to have a good knowledge of what you're going to talk about. Because I'm not going to be writing about, for example, time traveling without knowing what it means and the principles of time traveling, right? So I need a break. Do you have any question, guys? I'm just going to wait until that loads and that feeds because we are going to do a little writing prompt right now. Let's review what I've said. Characters need to be believable and they need to be affected by the change in one way or the other. Okay? The plot needs to be convincing and you need to decide whether it's softcore or hardcore science fiction so it is believable and that the reader has a background of what happened in the story or what is happening in the story so the plot can go smoothly. JW plays with that what if pretty well. Luisa, who is JW? Okay. Plot needs to be convincing. Setting, very important. The setting is very important because if you want to create a believable science fiction story, you need to create a convincing setting. Okay. Jurassic World. Okay. Jurassic World plays with what if? Yes, I agree with you completely, Luisa. Jurassic World dares to investigate what will happen if dinosaurs existed in our era. So yes, it does play well with that what if. And I want you now to play with that what if. And if you can't do it right now, just think because next week is presentation day. So I will ask you please for presentation day that you write a brief maybe a 300 word or 100, from 100 to 300 word story or text that deals with science fiction. Any field you want in science fiction, okay? Remember, softcore, hardcore, but if you're gonna go hardcore, you need to do some research, okay? Because a good writer does research. So the writing prompt, what I want you to do, basically, I want you, and I'll do it as well. We're gonna write a 100 word. Oh wait, God, I have to acknowledge you. What the what? We're gonna write a 100 words short story. On my, you may. I just want to see what you can come up with, right? The writing prompt is for you to start thinking of the possibilities that you have as a science fiction writer. And since I think that some of you are first timers, I'm a first timer as well. You need to know that there is there are endless possibilities on what you can write in science fiction. So, like a drabble. Okay. Or you know what? Just something small that maybe, and please write it in the chat, okay? Write it in the chat, okay? That we can connect with a science fiction story. God, my head shines like a diamond, but diamonds don't shine, so. Okay, in the chat here, write a, a small sci-fi micro story. Micro text. Don't worry, I'm gonna be good. 50 to 100 words. I just want to see what you can come up with regarding characters, regarding setting, and regarding the plot. First of all, you need to decide what's gonna happen. What if I'm gonna write here mine? What if plants came to life? But not life because they are alive, but I mean have sentient feelings and thoughts. I'm gonna dust off my biology. Um, my biology knowledge, I guess, yes. So basically, I'm gonna start writing my own story. It's gonna be about plants becoming sentient creatures that have feelings and thoughts, that have reason, like humans. That's gonna be my short story. It's a very small draft of my short story. So what I want to do now is that I want to focus on my characters for my 100 word or 50 word, my small micro text. Um, sorry, my God, I'm so gassy. Okay, so I want to focus on. Oh God, you can see my closet. Okay. So I will focus now on my characters. Since it's about plants coming to life, maybe my main character can be one of those plants that came to life suddenly, just suddenly, poof, it came to life. It had reason. Okay, so there's my character. My character is one of the plants that came to life with reason and sentient feelings. Okay, now where is the setting? Where can I put this story? Okay, a forest, of course, a forest, or no, wait. I'm gonna scratch that. I'm gonna put it in a city. In a crowded city like New York, there's just a small plant that suddenly came to life, and the other plants as well came to life and had thoughts and reason like humans. So maybe we can be talking about advanced evolution. Here we go, right? Um, and now my plot. And of course, since I want change, or it could be a gardener. Yes, yes. Do Luisa, I like that. I'll consider it. My plot, since it has to focus on change, I'm gonna make those plants have revenge on humans. Okay. My plants are vengeful, reasoning creatures that want to destroy humans because they are destroying Mother Earth. Oh, okay. And suddenly, I'm gonna use a flower. And suddenly, the rose felt the sun sting on its stem. Its leaves elongated into arms, into green arms with leafy fingers. I know, leafy, don't like it, but whatever. Its roots. You know what? I think I'm being inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot, its roots angled into muscles for its brand new feet. As it's as it staggered upwards with its thorns prickling. Oh God, wait. There's a limit of characters in the chat. Okay. As it stagger upwards with its okay. As it stagger upwards with its brand new body, the wait, with its thorn, with its thorn sculpted figure, the rose had but only one thought: the death of the human race. Okay, let's see. And suddenly the rose felt the sun sting on its stem. Its leaves elongated into green arms with leafy fingers. Its roots dangled into muscle for its brand new feet. As it staggered upwards with its thorn sculpted figure, the rose had but only one thought: the death of the human race. Afar, screams of people choked echoed the busy streets of the city, where the trees and flowers were left lost between concrete towers. The rose was curious, and it recognized fear. For it too had felt it when a gardener. Oh shoot! The rose was curious, and the rose was curious, and it recognized fear, for it too had felt it when a gardener threatened to rip it from mother's breast. Mother had always whispered to hate the humans, for they were killing her, for they were killing. This is so weird. Okay, and Luisa writes, the gardener didn't realize her garden was alive and thinking until her trees began to uproot themselves and wobbled across the countryside in search for the great forest across the country. Okay, it does tend to sound a little fantasy. I know, believe me. But remember, I like where you're going, but remember, Luisa, that you need to give them a reason, and you need to give the reader a reason for why it happened. Okay? And the character is good. The trees are coming to life. They it let's call it advanced evolution, right? And as you move on, of course, you need to remember that there's the need of change. And what if? The what if you did it great, okay? That was great. And there's also the need to criticize something that's happening in our society right now, okay? So what I wanted to do in my story is that I want to just go dark always because who doesn't like a dark story? Um, my main plot suggests that the rose came to life to kill the humans because the damage that humans are doing for the world has already given her a reason to riot, if you may, and evolve into a being that can protect Mother Earth. So it's not that I'm saying that's the way you should go, but remember, you need to focus this on criticizing something as well, and focusing on the change, or develop the change until we have an effect, okay, on the characters and the world the story happens. Remember, as I mentioned in the first um, virtual workshop, these texts all are all in this universe called the megatext. So these stories that we are going to be okay, that these stories that we are developing are acceptable because they give a little, they um they contribute to the megatext, to the universe in which all the science fiction stories live and will live. Okay, so let's see. Mother had always whispered to hate the humans for they were killing her. Okay, I'll stop right there. Kevin, are you out here? Let me see. No, there's only one viewer. It's okay. So, sorry. When we write science fiction, we need to remember that there's a reader that wants to know how things happened and why is it happening, and it's going to be curious. And as writers, we can give them a glimpse of the world this story is developing in. Okay? In the case of the story that this small story that I just created, there's a reason for the rose to turn into this monster-sized humanoid creature, because it had a reason, because the Mother Earth is going to die. So I gave my reader a glimpse. Of course, it's all over the place. It should have a development, but I'm just writing it. The reader has a knowledge and has a reason for why things happened, why this change, this sudden change of the flower turning into a humanoid, um, humanoid plant creature is there. There's a reason. We always need to give the reader a reason, okay? And as it happens in science fiction, we also need a reason for the change, a very convincing reason. And I still, in my story, need to develop more. What's happening? Why did it happen? Did they get, I don't know, um, you know, fertile lands, or steroids, you know? But it's all part of the process of writing. We need to make characters, setting, and plots that revolve around this science fiction story, this genre that we are trying to understand and comprehend. So, as final tips for presentation day, you need to choose a convincing story and plot, okay? That it does not borderline with fantasy, because fantasy often doesn't want to explain why happened, it's just there. But science fiction aims to explain why, and also dares to venture into the what if, the unknown. So that's another one tip. The other one, you do not want to bombard the reader with boring statistics. Even if you're writing hardcore science fiction, we need to know what's going to happen with the characters and the plot and everything, okay? So do not overwhelm the reader with trying to sound scientific so you can fall inside science fiction, okay? Another thing, dare to ask what if to whatever, okay? And research. You need to research your story always, so it's convincing, and I, as a reader, can enjoy it as well, okay? And I think I'm gonna go with my last tip. My last tip will be that you need to read other science fiction writers, okay? So you can have an idea that these science fiction writers do not bombard the with the reader with statistics and formulas and data. No, they want to convince the reader that, sorry, excuse me, that this is my world and this is happening and you need to believe it, okay? If the reader does not believe and has a doubt on what is happening, you have crossed to fantasy, okay? Because fantasy deals with the supernatural, well, yeah, and the fantastic, whereas science fiction, and as I read here again, deals with the human species encountering change, whether it arrives via scientific discoveries, technological innovations, natural events, or societal shifts. Okay, so I think that's it for today. Wow, and it's not even 1 hour, and I just I'm here 30 minutes. But as I mentioned, this was going to be a short workshop. But okay, remember that explore the unknown, explore the what if of life. Okay, dare to venture into some place that has not been ventured before. Okay, research your topic, research the possibilities, and then go from them. Please, homework, read There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury and There Will Come Soft Rains by Sarah Teasdale. Okay, Ray Bradbury used the poem There Will Come Soft Rains as an inspiration to his story There Will Come Soft Rains. Okay, so read that one because it is softcore science fiction, but you'll get a glimpse of what I mean when I say that Ray Bradbury in that short story ventured into something that is highly improbable, but yet at the same time possible. Okay, There Will Come Soft Rains, short story by Ray Bradbury, poem by Sarah Teasdale. Okay, so that is it for today. I hope this workshop and live stream has helped you. Please read the document that I uploaded in the members group. If you are a viewer from outside the workshop, like us on Facebook. You can find us by searching the UPRH Creative Writing Workshop. Find us on Twitter under UPRH underscore CWWS. And that's it. And Luisa answering her question, yes. That's the house that burned story. Yes. So I'll end here. Let me just now. So read the poem as well. Okay. So thank you for this for this time. I hope you learned something new. Thank you, Luisa. And I'll see you next Wednesday, June 24th, for presentation day. For presentation day, what we do is that we present, sorry for being redundant, the original text that the writers that have been engaged in the Cyber June, in this case, the theme of the month, write. They write original text related to the theme. So what we do is that we read them and we give criticism. Okay? So bye to everybody. Hope you enjoyed this virtual workshop, that you learn a little bit about science fiction. And I encourage you to research the topic, to read other stories, and just to go beyond and go crazy. Okay? What if? Remember that. What if? So thank you for your attention. Have an awesome Cyber June. And I remember that our peer mentor and vice president, Isander Berrios, he is going to be in charge of Fantasy July. I mean, I don't know the name of what they're going to get, but he's going to be in charge of fantasy. So you're going to see the contrast between the observable and the imaginative. Okay? So thank you for your attention. Have a very pleasant evening. And this has been Miguel De Jesús signing off. I'm going to go home to my alien planet right now. Beep, beep. I'm kidding. I'm not a robot. Or am I? Bye.